Welcome back to the channel, boys. Fabulinski's coming at you next with this Boots of the Assembler build. Now with this build, we're going to utilize the brand new Warlock exotic that came to us in Season of the Splicer, Boots of the Assembler. These exotics are, well, this exotic I should say is much better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be pretty good, but I don't know, the wording when they first announced it or in the little description is a little bit funky, but when you start to use it and see what it can do, I think it's actually going to be very good in some of the endgame content, Grandmaster Nightfalls and raids and something like that. But let me go ahead and jump right into this build. So with this build, we're going to utilize shadebinder, although you don't necessarily have to. The main reason I'm picking shadebinder is honestly because of this fragment right here. Whisper of Refraction. Defeating slowed or frozen targets grants you class ability energy. So I want to get my rift back as much as possible because of the way the exotic works. You can actually extend your rift, but I want to be able to have it so I can be kind of mobile, so that way if I have to move positions I can. I'm not like very stuck without a rift. So that's the main reason we're also using this. Our aspects we're using is Ice Flare Bolts, and we're using the new one, Glacial Harvest. The other fragments we're using is Whisper of Hedrons. We're using this because I'm using a Wellspring weapon and I don't have some type of damage buff weapon, so we're using Whispers of Hedron to compensate for that. We're also using Whisper of Hunger, so I get more melee energy whenever I pick up stasis shards. And then we're also using Whisper of Conduction, so that way the stasis shards do track to my position. Also, I should mention where I am using Empowering Rift for this build. Now you don't necessarily have to, but I like Empowering Rift, although in the endgame content I would definitely recommend using Healing Rift. It's just much better to keep your team alive and keep yourself alive. But for something like the new override activity, Proving Ground, Strikes, Empowering Rift is just fine. I like to do more damage, and I feel like being able to distribute damage buffs to your teammates is going to be very powerful. So that's why we're using Empowering Rift. As for my loadout, I'm using my Succession Reconstruction Vorpal weapon. We're using this gun, Stochastic Variable. Now I just got this to drop. This is brand new. I think they brought it back from like season 1 or season 2 or something like that. It's actually a really good SMG. I'm starting to like it a lot. My role is Ambitious Assassin Wellspring. I recommend for this build using a weapon with Wellspring, being able to get kills with this gun and then get your abilities back or ability energy back in return is very, very important for this build, because you want to be able to use your abilities a lot, use your rift a lot, so you can move around and place it a bunch of places, which is why I'm using a Wellspring weapon. It doesn't have to be an SMG. I also had another choice. I was deciding between the SMG or this gun right here, the Number, another weapon that was returned to us. I got Killing Wind Wellspring. Oh, it's like a tongue twister right there. Killing Wind Wellspring. The main reason I was debating between the two of these is because SMGs really don't have that much range, at least compared to an auto rifle. So you think about the playstyle with this build is you kind of want to sit in the rift as much as possible and then move when need to. So the main reason I like the auto rifle is because it has much more range and I can sit in the rift very comfortably. But when enemies start to rush me, which is when the SMG was more powerful, because as Ambitious Assassin, meaning that I have more bullets in the clip, and SMGs just shoot faster. So it's kind of tough. You don't really need to use an SMG. You don't really need to use an auto rifle. I just like using SMGs, so honestly the choice is yours. Auto rifle, SMG. You can even use Trusty with Wellspring, anything with Wellspring. So it's just honestly your choice. And then my heavy weapon of choice is Code Dweller Auto-Loading Cluster Bomb. Now as for my stats, we got 37 mobility, we got 39 resilience, we have 71 recovery. Now I was trying to make this 100, but then I kind of realized it's not really that important because I have Whisper Refractions on. So I dropped this on to 71 because I was trying to get my discipline up. Right now my discipline is at 51. It's kind of a nice middle ground, although I would have liked this to be a little higher. Now we have 59 intellect. This burns my soul because if I can just put one more point, boys, I always say that. Take this 1 point from 51, put it right here. But unfortunately, the way my armor is rolled, I have 59 intellect and then I have 103 strength. Now, although you don't really need it, I have the little stasis shards that are going to give me melee energy in return. I just love the shadebinder melee, so that's why I have 100 strength. You can probably get away with using 100 discipline for this build as well, but honestly it's just kind of your preference. Either way, you're going to have a lot of ability spam because you have a Wellspring weapon. So let's just go ahead and jump to our mods real quick. We have a discipline mod on the helmet. We have double hands-on mods, gain bonus super energy on melee kills. I'm going to use my melee a lot with this build, like a ton with this build, so whenever I get kills with it, I'm going to get super energy in return. Actually, a lot of it because I'm doubling them up. And then I literally had one mod slot open. I probably should change this, but I don't know. I like Elemental Light. Actually, no, I'm going to change it right now. We're going to switch this to Shield Break Charge because honestly the little elemental wall that was spawning from getting kills with my super, it was really pointless. So I figured now I have Shield Break Charge become Charge of Light by breaking a combatant shield with the matching energy type. So this is much more important. Use Shield Break Charge for this build. Yeah, you just saw me switch it out. So every time I break a shield that matches the element type, I become charged with light. On my gauntlets, we got a minor strength mod. We got SMG loader. Now we have momentum transfer. Causing damage with a grenade reduces your melee cooldown. I would have liked this to be the, I think it's called impact induction. Causing damage with a melee reduces your grenade cooldown. But it is what it is. I have an art piece and this is the stats I need. So whenever I cause damage with my grenade, I get some melee cooldown. I'll take that. Anything to spam my melee, I'll take. And then we also got taking charge. On my chest piece, we got a minor recovery mod. We got concussive dampener, reduces some of that heavy hitting damage coming at me from the game. And then we got heavy handed. Now my last build used this mod. I absolutely love this mod. While charge with light, regain half your melee energy when you use a charge melee ability, consuming 1 stack of charge with light. It is a fantastic mod. I also have the secondary perk activated, which is while surrounded by multiple combatants, defeating a combatant with a fusion rifle, shotgun, sidearm, or SMG adds ammo for that weapon to your reserves. So it's just going to increase the amount I can use my SMG pretty much. But being able to get half my melee ability back is huge, because then once I use my rift, I get a nice little chunk. I pick up some stasis shards. Boom, there you go. I got my melee back. I can use it again. Proc whispers of hedrons, get whisper refraction going, and just keep that cycle going. It is fantastic. And on to the main focus of this build, the exotic boots of the assembler. Now let me go over the armor perk real quick. We got blessing of order. Standing in a healing rift creates noble seekers that seek out allies that are not in a rift and heal them. Standing in an empowering rift creates noble seekers that grant both you and your ally a damage bonus. Each time a noble seeker finds one of your allies, the duration of your rift is briefly extended while you are standing in it. It kind of works similar to Sanguine Alchemy. I believe that's the name, Sanguine Alchemy. You stand in your rift, you're going to see these little like orbs pop up, and then they're just going to shoot away, and they're going to go to teammates, and whether you're standing in a healing rift is going to give them healing, or if you're standing in an empowering rift is going to give them a damage buff. It is absolutely fantastic, because literally it's like you're supporting your teammates without having to actually do anything. All you're doing is just playing how you would play. Whenever you put on your rift, you just stand in it, play around the rift, and boom, they're getting damage buff and they're getting healed. This is going to be, I can already see the future, and I have a very, very good feeling that this is going to be very good for the end game content. Like I said, grandmasters, certain parts of raids, dungeons, and stuff like that. So definitely get these exotics because they're fantastic. Now let me go over the mods really quick. We got a discipline mod. We're also using double innervation mods, reduce grenade cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. My weapon is masterwork. Well, all my weapons are masterwork, plus my teammates are going to be generating orbs of power. This is going to be one way I can get my grenade back. And then we're also using supercharge. You can have an additional 2 additional stacks of charge with light, up to a maximum of 5. So now I can have 4 stacks of charge with light. And on my Warlock bond, we got a strength mod as well. Now we're using double outreach mods, reduce melee cooldown when using your class ability. Just as another way that I'm going to be able to spam my melee attack. And then we also have Radiant Light. Casting your super causes nearby allies to become charged with light, and it also gives me plus 20 strength because I have this secondary perk active. So this is kind of adding to that support playstyle. I'm going to get my super pretty frequently with this build, so being able to pop it and make my allies become charged with light is a nice little bonus. Plus having 20 strength is always nice. And on to my Warlock fashion. I fell in love with this look already. I love the little chains right here, and I love this helmet too. It fits really well with this theme I have going on, kind of like a savage Warlock look with the chains and the shoulder pieces. I don't know, I love it. It looks really like kind of like I put together, like from scraps, like I put together some Warlock armor. Nice little gauntlets right here. So if you guys want to know what this is, actually I can show you right now. Here is all the cosmetics I use. We got Precursor Vex Chrome, Gilded Smoke, more Precursor Vex Chrome, Abyssinian Gold, Vintage Timber, and then here are the armor pieces that I transmog. So if you guys want to see it, you guys can pause it, take a copy of it, or whatever you guys want to do. But there's my fashion for you guys. This exotic turned out to be way better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be some kind of funky, like you consume your rift and then it gives out healing orbs or something like that. I mean, which is still pretty good, but the fact that it also extends your rift duration each time the little seekers find your allies is amazing. For something like a GM or a dungeon where you actually really kind of have to take your time with those champions or with the bosses, you can put down a healing rift, your teammates can go to their little angles they want to go at, or maybe even another Warlock with another healing rift or damage rift or whatever. You guys can just sit in your places and you're constantly going to be able to give them healing or damage buffs, and I think that's going to be very potent. Even for something like Override or just regular strikes or proving grounds, honestly it's a lot of fun because it's very satisfying seeing the orbs go to your targets, or to your teammates rather, and then you're just sitting in there doing not doing nothing, but you're just playing the game, killing enemies, and you're also supporting your team as well, and it's a really good feeling. Now let's say that you don't really like stasis or you don't like shadebinder. Another subclass I would highly recommend using this exotic with is obviously Middle Tree Dawnblade, the Well of Radiance, because of the way that that class synergizes with the healing nades and the rifts. You pretty much can be the ultimate medic. You can just sit in your rift, and the healing rift especially, give your teammates healing, sitting there, they're gonna get the and even if they walk in it, then you're gonna get, I think it's called like Benevolent Dawn or something like that. I don't even know, I hardly ever play Well of Radiance, but that little buff that gives you your abilities back, you're gonna get that. Then you're gonna get your rift back, you're gonna get your healing nades, you heal them, then you get your rift back. So I don't know, it would be really good with a Well of Radiance. But I personally like Shadebinder because it's funner, and you can get like damage buffs or something like that, although you can do the same thing with Well of Radiance. I just like the feel of it. It has a ranged melee attack, freezing enemies is very potent, and the super is much more fun in my opinion. But you can use whatever subclass, honestly. Another good one maybe Devour, because you can keep yourself alive with the grenades, use your rift, heal your teammates, get your rift back using a wellspring weapon or something like that. Or using what is the one mod on the Warlock bond that every time you use your class ability you get class ability in return? You can use that mod. So honestly, there's a couple different options here, but I personally like Shadebinder, so you're not really stuck to it though. It's whatever you like to use. So there you boys have it, a nice little build with Boots of the Assembler, the brand new exotic for the Warlock. I'm definitely gonna keep playing around with them. I want to make like that ultimate healer build with this because I want to use Middle Tree Dawnblade with this exotic and a few other weapons. I gotta decide yet. I'm just thinking about it right now. But if you guys are interested in that, hit that subscribe button. You can even turn on the notification bell if you would like to. Stay tuned because there's going to be a lot more content. But if you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, and share. It truly helps me out a lot. You can also check out my other videos. Links are in the description below. I have a lot of crazy builds, guys, so go ahead and check that out. And you might as well find my social media. I have a Twitter, an Instagram, and a TikTok, all three of them at @fat_balloonskis. But with all that being said, deuces.